In this business, whether it's handicapping or gambling, whichever side of the fence you're on, and of course I'm on both sides, everybody likes to talk about wins and losses. But what's overlooked, I think, the most is bankroll management. Because as I always like to say, you want to build that little bankroll, you want to send it off to school, you want to see it grow up, send it off to college and graduate, because that's how little bankrolls turn into big bankrolls. And you've got to know when to take your shots. And I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here, General Manager at DeMarcosports.com. Of course, yesterday I actually lost a game. Oh my God, a handicapper coming on a video report and admitting that he lost a game. Yeah, it even happened to me. And you know, I haven't lost many games here lately, but yeah, what a bad play. What a poor choice on East Carolina yesterday. Not going to beat myself up, however, because today I'm going for football winner number 15 out of 18. Yeah, that's how hot I've been. Today, not only that, I'm going for winning day number 14 out of 17. And as you know, Saturdays over at DeMarcoSports.com, oh, they've been paydays because today will potentially be Saturday best bet winner number 11 out of 13 over at DeMarcoSports.com. And I'm coming right back with a normal top rated 15 dime release. I'm calling it my rebound romp of the month because I think this team coming off a loss last Saturday will win and cover and get the job done by at least 18 points today. And once again, just like all the other previous football winners, it's going to be the half price play of the day using coupon code HALF, HALF. Now, first of all, it's a 15 dime play. Now, you know, each of the past 3 Saturdays, I have come with monstrous plays that match the biggest of my career, no matter the sport. Ultra rare 30 dime plays, of which they were number 35, 35, 36, 37, and 38 of my career in college football in 23 years. And I won a perfect 3-0 with them. So you might be sitting there and saying, well, where's the 30 dime play today? You're on a roll, blah, blah, blah. And you know how many times I've said to you that when you're hot, that's when you press the action. But that's where bankroll management comes into play. Listen, this card has depth today, but there's not that one game that is simply screaming, bet me, bet me, bet me. It's not there. Not like Notre Dame over Army last week, not like Colorado over Utah 2 Saturdays ago, not like Texas over Florida 3 Saturdays ago. Oh, there's some excellent games, and I found the one game that I love today, and it's a normal 15 dime best bet for me. Well, Jesus, even after losing East Carolina yesterday, I'm still 7-1 with those 15 dime releases over the past 3 weeks. Not like it's a lousy play. It's my normal top rated release. And again, once you accumulate that bankroll, you've got to know when to press. You don't just press because you've accumulated it. You've got to pick your spots. Never force the action. I see this all the time. I see it with gamblers who foolishly think that the winning streak is never going to end, that bandwagon, they're never going to be forced off of it. You've got to pick your spots and know. And I'm looking at today's card, just like yesterday's card. Yesterday's card, that East Carolina game, oh, I thought about Colorado, but yeah, Colorado would have won, but I didn't really think it was a good play. And I thought East Carolina was the only play on yesterday's card that was worth betting on. And today, it's a great card, depth-wise, but not one game is just screaming to double my wager. And that's why I only have a normal top-rated 15-dime release. So always remember that. It's bankroll management. Don't forget it, because once you've got that bankroll, you don't want to give it up. Nothing's better than playing with somebody else's money. Am I right? Okay, now, in terms of the free plays, 3-1 last Saturday, 2-1 on Sunday, gave you the Packers on Thursday. How easy was that one? The top college plays here on the video report, 9-4 this season, 9-4. And today, your top play, I'm going to go with Notre Dame. Yeah, Notre Dame was my best bet last week over at DeMarcoSports.com, but today I'm going to go with Notre Dame minus the 7 to, yeah, they're down to 7 now because so much action has come in on USC. It has dropped it from 7 to 7.5. From 7.5 to 7. I'm going to go with the Irish. I know this has been kind of a one-sided series in terms of the home team getting the job done, going 8-2 straight up and 9-1 against the spread. But the flip side of that coin is that Notre Dame comes into this contest winning 9 in a row, 8 in a row against the spread. Only one of those victories has come by less than 18 points, and that was the win against Louisville last month, I think early in October. And, they were dominant last week, just as I forecasted against Army. I don't think it's going to be that easy today. And everybody will say, well, USC is such a live dog because the Trojans are, undefeated at home this year, and they're coming off that win against UCLA on the road. Yeah, 19-13. They beat the Bruins on the road. They had to score 10 unanswered points in the fourth quarter to get that win done. And the defense is certainly better for USC this year, giving up 21 points a game, which is an 11-point improvement from a year ago. But their pass defense is still just in the bottom third in FBS action, giving up 236 yards a game. That ranks them out of 134 Division I teams, number 93 coming into this game. And Riley Leonard has been not spectacular, but consistent and efficient, and I will live with that. Now, USC has tightened up the reins in terms of their run defense, but still, I'm not looking at an overwhelming number of points here. Does USC want to be a spoiler? Does USC want to knock Notre Dame down a number of pegs in terms of the college football playoff rankings? Oh, absolutely. But still, I'm looking at this Notre Dame defense, a defense that has yielded 14 points or less in 6 straight games. They won last year in South Bend 48-20. And USC had this guy, Williams at quarterback. Yeah, he's not there anymore, okay? And I just think it's a good price. So I'm taking Notre Dame at 7. And of course, you know what I'm going to tell you. I'm buying down the half point on the Irish here. Let me tell you, Notre Dame, I think, is also a great teaser possibility. I think you could also probably tease USC up to 14 in a two-team 7-point teaser, but I would prefer to take the favorite down. So the top play is going to be Notre Dame. Number 2, let's go with Louisville, -4 Kentucky. Again, a one-sided series with Kentucky winning 5 straight, both on the field and versus the odds makers in the series. This is, of course, the Governor's Cup in the Bluegrass State. You look at Louisville and look at the strength of schedule. The Cardinals, not exactly a chopped liver team here. No, they don't play in the SEC. I grant you that. But they have beaten 5 bowl-eligible teams, including a road upset of Clemson. 3 of their 4 losses came against teams that are expected to make the college football playoffs. I will say that I still don't know what the hell happened to them. And that 38-35 loss at Stanford, where they just totally collapsed in the last 5-6 minutes of that game. But they did rebound with the easy win against Pittsburgh last week. And yes, Panthers did lose their starting quarterback in that game, but they put 506 yards of total offense up there. Listen, I look at Louisville kind of this way. Jeff Brom came back to his alma mater. If you don't win against Kentucky this year, you could be like Ryan Day at Ohio State. And we're going to talk about Ryan Day in just a moment. So you better win. And the price is certainly right, -4. And what the hell has Kentucky done? They're coming off a 31-14 loss to Texas. They've lost 5 of their last 6. The only win in that 6-game stretch was against an FCS team, Murray State. They lost by 8 at home to Vanderbilt, 28 at Florida, 14 at home to Auburn. I was shocked by that one. 10 at Tennessee, and then 17 to Texas. They're going with the freshman quarterback today, Cutter. I think his last name is Cutter Boley today, because he's played in relief pretty well in the second half of each of the last 2 games in relief of Brock Vandegrift, who just really never delivered and paid off in terms of his expectations here. And he's played well. But again, it was against Murray State and in mop-up duty against Texas. So going for 20, playing well in those games, I don't know how much you can certainly put in there. And this is a Kentucky offense that has failed to score 20 points in any SEC contest this year. I think this is a good spot to go ahead and ride Louisville. So that brings us to that game, or should we say the game, in Columbus today. which is Ohio State minus 19.5 points against Michigan. You know all the history. Ryan Day's lost 3 in a row. The last guy to lose 3 in a row in this series as an Ohio State coach was John Cooper. Uh, there's only been 3 guys in the history of Ohio State football to lose 4 in a row in this series, and that last guy happened to be John Cooper. And John Cooper didn't last much longer than that either. Um, I watched the Indiana game last week. I thought Ryan Day, that was kind of a, I can't say the word that I really want to here. Let's just say I thought that was really a classless move, a guy that can't beat anybody good. So he decides to go for the touchdown there in the final seconds and the extra points there to run up the score against Indiana for no real good reason. Ryan, how about beating Oregon? How about beating Michigan? Well, it's put up or shut up time today. And you're never going to have a better chance than against this Michigan team today. So you've got the number 1 scoring defense in the country, allowing under 11 points a game. You've got a senior veteran quarterback who never has played under all the big expectations that anybody else on the Buckeyes have had to shoulder because, let's face it, Will Howard came from Kansas State. So, when you're in Manhattan, you're not worried what the hell the Maize and Blue are doing to your program, right? So, and he's had a good game, a good season, other than that one bonehead play at the end of the Oregon game in Eugene. Very good game, in fact, season, in fact. 74%, which I think leads all FBS quarterbacks in terms of completion percentage, 26 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and he's also a threat to run the ball, too. Excellent crew of wide receivers playing behind an offensive line that has been injury riddled. And that's something to be concerned about because Michigan obviously has the pass rushers that you have to account for. I think they have 30 sacks on the season. Michigan also very good at stopping the run, giving up just 94 yards a game. The fact that Michigan scored a couple hundred points against Northwestern last week is inconsequential. The fact is that when you have a quarterback, Davis Warren, in his 7 starts this year, has only thrown for 1,064 yards with 6 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, that should not strike the fear of God into anyone on that Ohio State secondary. In terms of the Michigan secondary, they're once again going to be without their number 1 coverage guy, the cornerback Will Johnson, who's probably going to be a first-round draft pick in the NFL. He's been in and out of the lineup now pretty much since the end of September. Also, their best offensive player and their leading wide receiver, who happens to be their starting tight end, Cortland Loveland, he is questionable to doubtful, and there was an ESPN report that he was limited all week in practice, and there was pessimism, according to this particular source from Michigan, that he would be available today. So I'm willing to lay the points with Ohio State in this game. I do find it kind of funny, though, however. And listen, I follow the Ohio State program a hell of a lot because that's where I get my leukemia treatment. So I'm there 8, 10 times a year, sometimes more, almost every single month. Well, when you're on the campus of Ohio State, when I'm in the leukemia center and I can look out the panoramic windows from the 8th floor and the horseshoes right there, kind of hard not to be involved in the Ohio State program. Oh my God. And when you go there on a football weekend, shoot, you better be involved in some tailgating at every hotel you stay at. Let me tell you, it's definitely it's a little different atmosphere than when I went to Temple University. Let me just say that. Yeah, it's amazing. But then I read about Ryan Day's quote, and I got to read this to you because I think it's such BS. We felt like what it's Ryan's got to get his English better. We felt what it's like to not win this game, and it's bad. It's one of the worst things that's happened to me in my life, quite honestly. Other than losing my father and a few other things, it quite honestly, from my family, the worst thing that's happened. So we can never have that happen again, and that's been our approach all season. Ryan, you got to get an effing life. You've got to come into the real world and realize there are more important things than winning this stupid football game. You could be James Franklin like the rest of your life and never win a big game, and you'll get another job, and you'll still make millions of dollars, and they'll hate you forever in Columbus. If you think this is the worst thing in your life, get real. Oh my God. I don't know who's a bigger jerk off, him or Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State, who acted like that punk mouthing off at you at 2:15 after the bar ended, and you just want to punch the hell out of him. I love that video clip, by the way, with Kenny Dillingham last week, blowing up at the officials with his wife standing there. And I just was wondering, what is his wife thinking? Listening to him going to berserk, going, God, you should see him at home. He does the same thing. Or, my God, he's acting like a jackass on national TV and I have to stand next to him. I don't know. I'd love to know what her thoughts were. Okay, your next complimentary play as we move on. I'm going to go with Indiana minus the 29 against Purdue. Indiana is in a position, they've got to run up the score here. And why not? It's Purdue. Because after that lackluster performance against Ohio State, it's all about style points. And I will say this, that Kirk Cinetti, when he took the job, said that this was a big game to finally beat Purdue because this is another one-sided series where the Boilermakers have won 5 of the last 6 games, both straight up and against the spread in the battle for the old Oaken bucket. Say that 3 times quickly. Um, you got a 10-1 team against a 1-10 team. You've got a team that's 7-1 in the Big Ten Conference against a team that's 0-8. You've got Cignetti, who is the king prince of Bloomington, against Ryan Waters, who's probably going to maybe even get fired here, or at least have to clean house of his coaching staff in West Lafayette. I don't think I have to say much more about here. I mean, this is just an awful Purdue team. They can't get off the field on third down. They give up almost 48% completions. Um, yeah, this is just an awful team. So I think that you have to go with Indiana. And your next play is going to be UNLV. The Rebels, because of Tulane's loss the other night, they are in a very interesting spot here. Win and they're in, meaning if they win this game against Nevada today, they get into the Mountain West Conference Championship game. Should they beat Boise State, now first you got to win today, and then you win next weekend in Boise, and this is a revenge game, remember, for the Rebs, right? Then you are probably going to make the college football playoff. Top 12. Yes. So win and you're in, but then you're not done. So step number 1, you got to beat up Nevada. And why the hell not? I mean, you got a great defense, great offense. You've got a defense which is actually very good in terms of Mountain West Conference standards. And you got a Nevada team that has 3 wins on the season, hasn't won a game in the conference all year long, that has a problem stopping anybody on the run, and or stopping any teams that run. I think that this is a good spot here. And of course, it's a big rivalry game. And you have to be so careful with these rivalry games. But I think this is a good spot. And UNLV, I don't think is overpriced. Now, I know UNLV has struggled here of late. Since that loss at home to Boise State, they haven't exactly been putting away everybody. However, it is a Nevada team that I don't think has faced anybody as good defensively since they placed Minnesota earlier in this year. And I don't think Nevada has played really that many teams that have the quick strike potential and the offensive firepower that UNLV brings to the table all season long. And how the hell do you lose to Air Force last week? Yeah, I don't get it. So again, I'm going to go with UNLV in this one. So let's recap the selections. And again, these go in the order that I just gave them to you. But as I always like to say, we're going to go with the top play, and this is the best of the worst. All the games that I handicapped on the card, narrowed it down for one reason or another. This is the game that had the least amount of warts and didn't make my best bet today, but it's the top of the best of the worst. And 9-4 with the last 13 here on the video report, and that would be Notre Dame buying down the half point because that line is sitting at 7. Number 2 is going to be Louisville, -4, again, buying down the half point on the Cardinals. Number 3 is going to be Ohio State. Number 4 is going to be Indiana. I'm buying the half point down on the Hoosiers at 29. You know I'm totally kidding here, right? I just wanted to make sure you're paying attention. Number 5 is going to be UNLV minus the 17.5 points at home against Nevada. Again, quickly repeating this: Notre Dame number 1, Louisville number 2, Ohio State number 3, Indiana number 4. Boy, have the Hoosiers made me money this year. And number 5 would be UNLV. Other games I kind of looked at, I thought about Missouri minus a 3 at home against Arkansas. Another rivalry series. Missouri is certainly won the share of them, 11-4 in the last 15 for the Battle Line rivalry series, and also has won the last 6 in Columbia. I like Connecticut minus the 10 at UMass too. UMass, of course, firing their coach a couple of weeks ago, in Connecticut, only thing here, third straight on the road, but by far the better team, even though they have already clinched a bowl berth. I still think it's an interesting spot to take the Huskies here. I thought about SMU against Cal, and I think SMU is a very popular betting pick. The only thing that I will say is that Cal has played almost every one of their games this year has been a one possession game. They've been dynamite in terms of covering games on the road. And I do wonder if SMU gets caught looking ahead to next week's ACC championship game against Miami of Florida. So that gave me a little hesitation to laying 13.5 points with the Mustangs today, even though I think they've won 13 or 15 straight games playing at home in Dallas. So little bit concerned about that play. But those are the other games that I also had handicapped today, so I at least wanted to mention them to you as well. As usual, if you want to subscribe to the channel, you see the little link down there in the bottom of the corner. And if you like the shirt that I'm wearing today, hit the little like button. It always helps the video reports. Good luck, everybody, and we'll talk to you again soon.